Hi guys, I'm sharing this with you today, just in the spirit of, I think it's important as the pieces come together for the New World Order to, show that it's occurring and show where it's occurring, in order to give people a better picture of how what people have been talking about is actually true, coming to fruition, and something that we should all be concerned about. Um, so today I was sent some information by a lovely lady. Again, it's the lady who prefers to remain nameless. And it was regarding the fact that universal basic incomes are being piloted and trial run in various places. I'll get to where those places are in just a second, but I'm going to start with the one that um, I think is most pivotal in case you don't have a lot of time. So in Palm Springs in America, there is $900 available to anybody over the age of 17 who has declared themselves to be trans. So it's a universal basic income only for trans people. Now, when I was following the Canadian truckers quite closely, the Leah Thomas swimming, uh, uh, whatever you want to call it, occurred. So Leah Thomas, who was born a boy and transitioned, I think, through their teens, but is physiologically still a male, although the testosterone levels have been coming down incrementally, raced in a college championships race and came first against women. Now, I don't feel like I should always have to preface everything that I say about anyone as that I care deeply, that people are well taken care of, loved, allowed to express who they are and be who they are. And this caveat that everybody's having to apply every time they try to talk about this issue is exhausting. And I really feel that we need to give people the benefit of the grace to believe that people are really truly good people and they wish each other no harm. So if they bring opinions to the table, it is truly in the main, in the spirit of really trying to understand and come to some sort of resolution on an issue. Now, for me, Leah Thomas um, shouldn't have been allowed to race, not because there's anything fundamentally wrong with Leah Thomas. There's not. Um, uh, just simply because Leah Thomas is physiologically a male, and there is a different, I feel like our children are being fed this line that it's okay because Leah's testosterone levels have dropped. But that is not the full picture. A person is not just their hormones. There is skeletal structure, there's muscular structure. Um, and basically the physiology of a male gives them an advantage over women in sport. So what it is that this young person is doing is it's a problem for people, not because of the issue of that young person's chosen identity. It's a problem because it's cheating. Um, and I worry for that young person because presumably when they were going through the process of transitioning, surely someone talked to them about the fact that with everything in life, if you make certain, every decision or every choice has consequences. There are pros and cons to everything we choose to do. And I would have thought that an important part of the process for a person deciding to go from a male to a female who takes their sport, their swimming, very seriously, would be that you would talk about the fact that this transition would um, mean that if they were to continue to race in the male sport, the drop of testosterone would give them a disadvantage, but that they would not be able to race in the women's races because they are physiologically a male, and therefore it would be perceived as cheating because at the end of the day, if you have an unfair advantage that can't be balanced out, um, then it is cheating. And I love sport. I love all sports. There's almost no sport that I can't engage with and find a love for. I really, really appreciate the work that goes into being at the top of your game. I trained for a long while as a swimmer myself. Um, and I know that if I had gotten into the pool with somebody who had been born a male, um, that my chances would have been diminished regardless of their testosterone levels. So I feel really that this young person has been, encouraged by people to think that, there is no difference. As a result, they've, on one hand, they're being made a pariah, and on the other hand, they're a martyr to the cause. Presumably, they're being told that, they're championing something really important, some change that's like racial equality, when in fact, they're being put in a position where I personally think they're being taken advantage of. I'm sure they would argue against that, but you know, young people can be very, very wise, um, and sometimes they are right about all sorts of things. But I suspect that in this case, that this is not the right thing to do to a young person, to allow them to go through this transition and tell them that that it's going to be possible, and to encourage them to race in women's sports. Anyway, the universal basic income thing is not just specific to Palm Springs and trans people. I think everybody by now has heard that part of the New World Order's plan is that everybody is given a universal basic income. In a way, this makes people docile because there is an income. They don't want to jeopardize it thereafter. And it allows them to live. Now, there'll be people on a spectrum here, and I am not at one extreme end or the other. I personally, if money is fundamental to living, then in my view, money is a human right. My problem, or the problem that I think we have, is that we have a monetary society. If you are going to have a monetary society, then I see, I think that, for instance, parenting is a really, really valuable phenomenon that shouldn't be seconded to something that you need to do secondary to earning money. And that I can see that if you were empowered to spend more time with your children and not have to be terrified that you can't put food on the table, that therein lies something valuable to me. Parents deserve to spend time with their children. Children benefit from parents spending time with them. You take care of your family unit, then you extend that to your friends and your community. Having time to grow your own food, all of these things, to share, so the alternative to the universal basic income, across the board, is that you have a completely different system, which is not based on money. And then you go into, communities and sort of devolved communities, which are sort of self governing, and where the important thing in amongst them, like a hunter-gatherer community, the important thing to them would have been survival. And when survival is what you're focused on, then everybody's job in terms of creating food and creating education and creating culture and celebrations, they are all focused on this thing that doesn't have anything to do with money. Now, that's a utopia on one side, and I've heard it argued that the alternative, the universal basic income, is a utopia in the other direction. People reference communism. I no longer personally think that these labels are useful, because I do think that we have been given them to perpetuate division rather than to understand that people are all over the place with their political views, really. And a lot of people are, somewhere in the middle with everybody else, with the odd extreme view here or there. And if they could discuss it, who knows what would come of it. But we have a monetary system at the moment and they're obviously trying to digitize it, and getting people to accept universal basic income will help them to digitize it, and presumably the, getting the income will be dependent on your having a digital ID or something like that. I don't have that confirmed, that's just speculation. So that Canada has a second reading of a bill. It's gone to the Senate for its second reading, and that would, if it passes, facilitate an income of around about $8,000 per year for everybody 17 to 64. And in Ireland, apparently there is what they are hoping to bring in is a 1,500 euro universal basic income for artists. And I think the kind of the rationale there, or the purported rationale, is that it's because that sector, which does provide us with absolutely vital, just so important for people to celebrate and for people to come together and to make music and to make creations and art and plays and all of these things. They are not important. That's not my argument at all. I think they should be understood to be more important than people perceive them to be. But rolling it in for them at the moment, saying that it's because people are unable to make money in that sector because of what's been going on. It's something that people should be aware is happening, because the thing is, once the universal basic income takes hold, along with digital ID, along with smart cities, the trap is set, and it's not actually possible. It's hard to conceive of how people within that scenario would get out of it, because it's hard enough to conceive of how we get out of this scenario. This is bad enough in the sense that if you don't want to live like this, then it's difficult enough to conceive how we get out of it, because as I've just offered you there, we basically need to get away from a monetary based economy, and that is just enormous. And to be honest, although people may well be talking about how to achieve that, I think mostly I only hear about that in terms of, people trying to grow their own vegetables, understanding that, the food chain is polluted, and that it is going to be more and more difficult to get food anyway. And so I want you guys to know that that is all happening. And it was sufficiently important to me that I thought that I would make another little video and share it with you. So that's all that I really have to say. I hope that it isn't annoying to hear it, and that if you think it's valuable to converse about it and to talk to people and to share the information, then I would be really grateful if you did, and particularly in the spirit of understanding that our young people, this trans phenomenon that is going on, they are, really, to my mind, not being supported to see the full picture, and that, they are our young people. And I think what's happening to them is, I think it's abuse when you encourage something without really helping somebody to understand what the full spectrum of implications are for not just them but society as a whole. So I love you. I leave you with that, and I'm really looking forward to having Cindy Niles. I know I keep plugging it, but hey, I'm happy that I'm going to get to speak to her, and she's going to share so much beautiful information. So that is not tomorrow, but the following day. And in the meantime, everybody take care, all right? I love you. Bye.